How can I be consistent if I should put enough thinking into my thumbnail and title? My honest answer is I definitely don't know how it's going to work, because some people may deliberately take the action of putting in longer time required to edit their thumbnail and their title, and it will therefore reduce execution and increase production time. That is a rule that has been set down by many big creators out there. And yes, it is true to an extent, but some people have actually made a very familiar misconception around it. But I'm going to talk about that now. So I finally found out a way to, clear that misconception and actually keep my time short enough to enable me to post consistently. Because the question is, how do I be consistent if I'm required to put in enough time? Now, it falls down to two things: how long is the time, and what does the take your time means. Well, I'm going to discuss the way you can actually get out of this misconception, and then we're going to look into take your time. So the first step I actually discovered, and something that has helped me, is I picked a style. And I'm not saying it because the every big creator says it, but this is something that's actually helped me. Like, I figured it out when I was like creating something, and it just came on my face, and I was like, okay, I'm going to put this down as a point on, because I was actually thinking about this topic. How do I do that if I was supposed to take a long time while creating thumbnail? So I discovered that if you actually have a style ready to go for your thumbnail, and if you have a style for your title, that's the hardest part, honestly. Then maybe once you actually film your videos, you edit the videos, then it won't be actually that much of a time, but it will actually take at least a reasonable amount of time. Now, how do you find this style? Well, if you have watched many of your best creators, you notice that you can discover most of their thumbnails either because of their title, or because of the picture they use, or because of the fonts that they used. But personally, how I like to do this is that I have actually watched for 3 years many creators, and I've discovered that there is a repetition when it comes to the thumbnail that they make. Okay, so I'm not telling you that you should actually copy one or two from them, but you should pick at least even use a method or a style from them. Now, how do I mean? Now, let's talk about Rory Ohama. Rory Ohama is, I think, she's Japanese, Turkish, and yeah, Japanese, Turkish. These two, like, they really mix up. But what I'm trying to say is that if you have watched some of our videos, you will notice that the normal thumbnail style that she uses is her face, and then I think her staring at you in a cold way, sort of. I'm trying to picture it in my mind right now. Then, the title, or if a salient point, then a red stroke under the salient point. Yeah, that's how basically it is. You should actually check it out. Then when it comes to Jade Wilson is normally shooting content in her living room slash kitchen. So she normally takes a picture, I think, when she's filming, because that pictures, most of her thumbnails pictures are taken, I think, before or even after she films. So that's how it is for them. Now you have to figure out the type of content you need to do, from the background of your thumbnail to the color to the font to the style, the largeness, and the clarity of every single thing. Okay, for me, I have started doubling down on using the color, I think gray or ash. You should see it on my previous videos. So I think you should actually find out the exact color that you would need, or something that just sits with you. But when it comes to fonts, I think JBC normally uses the Oswald bold, and it's something that like I click with. So that is something I've actually started implementing on most of my thumbnails. But I'm still doubling it down on the, what do you call it, the title. But I have tools for that, and I'm going to be exposing those tools in my next video. So you should consider sticking around. Now we have gone through picking your style. Now let's go into the real reason why people that actually deliberately waste their time or take their time on their thumbnails do it, and how it's going to affect them. Now, the first reason, and as I mentioned earlier, is to feel that they are following the right process. Now, this creation journey is a big journey, honestly, and many of us can be misled because there are many successful creators out there. So new creators that are coming up may tend to look up to them, but once they are being misled, that is where I step in. I'm going to give you the real, honest truth, my opinion, honestly. So if you think otherwise, you can actually hit me in the comment section. And I'm not actually framing the big content creators there as bad people. I love many of them, but at some point we need to disagree to agree. Okay, so this fault right now, take your time, is actually coming on the side of the viewer. That's content creators like you and I, the upcoming ones. Okay, so what I personally understand this to be is take a reasonable amount of time while planning and organizing your thumbnail and title, not taking an unreasonable amount of time doing nothing and waiting for inspiration to just kick in. Many of us do that, and I'm not going to lie, I was a victim. But I want you guys to understand and see the effects of this. Now, once you take your time, you discover that the execution date is a little bit further and the production date is increased by, let's say, 50%, 80%. And you also want to be consistent. So how are you going to do that? As I said earlier, you pick your style. And once you pick your style, everything is going to just sit in its position. I don't know whether this helped, but the only way that you can actually adjust your mistake or your fault of actually deliberately taking much time needed in planning your thumbnail and your title is adjusting when you post. Because I feel like that is the main thing that's actually kicking people or pushing people to actually do all those things. What do I mean? When we actually tell ourselves that we're posting every single week, or let's say four times in a week. Okay, let's say if you're a Monday guy or a girl, you post on Monday, then you take your day off on Tuesday, you post on Wednesday, then you post on Friday, and then you post on Sunday. Now you notice that the only 3 days that you have slash the days you have to come up with another content for the next day is less than 24 hours. All right, depending on the time you actually want to schedule when you upload your videos or post. So when you figure out that your video editing time takes much longer than that, your shooting takes much longer than that, and when it comes to the thumbnail and title, which takes time, then you will notice that 1 day or less than 24 hours is not even enough to come up with quality content. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is that you should adjust the way or adjust when you post. By adjusting that, you're going to cut off the long execution time to a shorter one, and you're going to decrease production rate, which is okay for you to be consistent. Now, what do I mean by this? If you say that you want to be posting 2 times in a week, that is possible because why? You can actually have enough time to organize and build or work on your thumbnail and your title, and that's exactly what you want, right? So this is basically like killing two birds with one stone. If you find yourself in this circle of always pushing yourself to post content every single 4 days in a week, then eventually you're going to burn out. And I made a video on that earlier, so I think you should check out that video. If this my opinion, my honest opinion helped, then consider subscribing to this channel, like, share to your fellow friends that you have seen going around in this loophole. So I'm going to call it a day right here. I'm going to be coming up with exclusive content for you guys. So I will see you guys in the next one. I think that should be about something about consistency or something, But I will see you guys. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.